Hey there, hi there, ho there, peeps. I am back with another segment or another video. And again, just for those of you who may have never watched the video, um, I'm going over this book, Single is Your Superpower by Case Kenny. And today's segment may go a little bit past 15 minutes, just so you know. Before I get into the content of what we're talking about today, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am also answering, or um, I got a comment from a friend. She didn't post, but she did reach out to me, and I'm going to try to make this do what it do. Miss G, that's you. All right. So first of all, the question: what am I asking today? Why are you single? Why are you over 40 and single? Why am I single? There is a show, this internet show, that another friend of mine hooked me on to, put me on to. Another friend of mine put me onto this show. It's a radio host named Kendra. She does a live show where she has singles come on. And those singles, they come on live and they talk and they, try to get people interested in them. She asks them a few questions. And then at the end of the segment, they'll give their address, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then anyone who's interested in them will DM them, or you know what I mean, hit them up, and they'll come back a second time and say, if they had any luck in finding someone, people from other countries and everything. But anyway, one of the questions that she always asks is, why do you think you're single? So that's the question I want to touch today. And I just want to be a little transparent in thinking about that for myself. Why am I single? Okay, so why do I think I'm single? Um, for those of you that know me, I'm known as being a little long winded, and sometimes I have to think things through while I'm answering the question to really get to that point. So I'm not going to just tell you why it is that I am, because why it is that I think I'm single. I got to go to a little bit of a backstory, right? Okay, so here we go. In this book, in the beginning, towards the beginning of the book, I'm going to read a little excerpt from it. It says, um, hello, my beautiful, talented, compassionate, and driven friend. Yep, that's you. In this short workbook, I hope to inspire you to shout that truth from a mountain. And in doing so, I'm confident you're going to completely change how you date, what you look for in a partner, and how happy and content you are as you do. I'm going to skip down. You're not going to be frustrated, discouraged, or convinced that you'll never find someone. Just the opposite, quite the opposite. You're going to enjoy dating. One of the things that I realize about myself is that I've kind of been going about dating like fishing. You just kind of go to the lake. I don't know if everybody, I'm not a fisherman, or I don't fish, but I assume this is how I know it to go. You kind of cast your net out and you just hope for whatever fish catches, right? As far as I know. You don't know what type of fish. Maybe people go to lakes where they actually know what type of fish swim there because they know what they're after. I don't know. But the way that I know a lot of us do is we kind of just go out there. Let's go to the club. I don't go to clubs anymore, but I'm just saying, let's go to the bar. I don't go to, that's not something that I do, but I'm just saying. And you kind of just go for whatever's there, like whatever happens to be there at that time, as opposed to saying, I want a guy who is physically fit. He's physically fit. So what do I need to do? I need to go to the gym. I want a guy who reads a lot. So what do I need to do? I want to hang out in the bookstore. I want to hang out in the library. A lot of us don't do that. We kind of just, we're not intentional about what we're looking for. And so we're kind of like fishing in a pond where it's kind of like whatever just happens to be there at that time. Like going to the grocery store. You kind of just, everybody needs to go to the grocery store. So you never know what type of person you're going to wind up meeting um, in the grocery store. So I think one of the reasons that I'm single is because I'm not deliberate about where I'm looking, and I don't want to say looking, but you have to get out there. If you're home all the time and you go to work all the time, and you, like, for me, I'm home, I go to work, I do, wherever I go, it is because it's someplace that I have to go, or something that I have to do. I'm taking care of some business. So if I'm limited to those places, then how am I going to meet anybody outside the realm of those who visit those places. You know what I mean? If you're home all the time, how are you going to meet somebody? You're in your house all the time. And yes, there is the online thing. Been there, done that. One of the problems that I think that I've always had is that I tend to date younger. And there's nothing wrong with dating younger, right? I feel like I have most of the times a lot of energy. I'm still very much in touch with my childish side. Today I went to medieval times. I love, um, silly things like that. I still watch cartoons and I'm not ashamed of it. And I work with kids, so I'm very much I'm very much able to come down to their level, so to speak, um, while teaching them to come up to my level, if that makes sense. And so you can find me joking, playing, and laughing a lot in ways that a lot of adults don't. I kind of want someone who still has that young at heartness. And so for a long time, I've dated younger. But then there's a lot of things that I need as far as maturity besides the viralness, right? If that makes sense, if I'm saying that correctly, of that young person. You kind of want someone who can adult and who's used to adulting, someone that I don't have to take care of as if they were just another child, another, like, not another burden, but they become a burden. Um, they're kind of, selfish in the way that they haven't experienced things. And for those who don't have kids, not that there's anything against those who don't have kids, but I kind of look at them like who are my age, let's just say, not younger, but even the younger. Let's stick with the young ones for now. The younger ones who don't have kids, and if they have kids and they don't take care of their kids, they're not really used to sacrificing themselves for someone else, right? And so they have a big level of selfishness about them to themselves. When I fast forward to men that are my age, usually they're tired, right? It's nothing wrong with taking a nap. I love to take me a nap, but my dude, you know, you can't be tired. And this is not to put everybody in the same box, but I'm just saying from my experience, I've had people who said to me that their idea of a romantic evening was, we're gonna take a nap together, we're gonna Netflix and chill, meaning actually Netflix and chill, and that's all fine and dandy. And I'm not a really spontaneous person where I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not really who I am either. But there has to be a balance, right? There has to be a balance for me. There's another reason why I've never really been interested in dating people that are my age or older, and it stems from childhood. You know that whatever happens to you as a child kind of stays with you as an adult, and it shapes the actual person that you are. So I'm going to tell you a brief story about what I believe, what some of the experiences that I had as a child and how they shaped me. I'll see if you guys can relate. First of all, I developed a warped sense of sexuality, a warped sense of intimacy stemming from the time that I was a child. I had no real examples of what an adult, loving or functional, like normal relationship should look like. Before I got put into foster care, I lived with my mother, my sibling, and my stepfather. We came across some books that he had back stashed in our apartment, because he kind of stayed with us on and off in my mother's bedroom in her closet. And back in the days before they had tapes, they had magazines. These were pornographic magazines that we found, my sibling and I, before I was 10 years old. So if I had to guesstimate how old I was, I'm going to go with 6. And in these books, they were very graphic. They depicted sexual acts. There were hundreds of them magazines, and they depicted sexual acts that we all, obviously, as kids, were very, and I say us because they were siblings and cousins, that we were all interested in seeing. And just like they say in the Bible, when Adam and Eve realized that they were naked, they realized that they were naked. If you don't know you're naked before they eat the fruit, they didn't know, they had no idea. So even though there was no one to really explain what was going on and to help us as kids to make sense of what was happening, you kind of knew it was a, ooh, I'm not supposed to see this. Ooh, it's fresh. You're not supposed to. You kind of already knew without having the really deep explanation. So I kind of grew up with a sheltered sense of what sex should be. As far as older men, I was exposed to older men who were really perverted. And as I started to develop, and this was still before I was 10 years old, and I know that because there were markers to my foster care, and we got put into foster care right when I was 10, right before I turned 11. So I know that this was before. There were men who um, would, let's just say, were attracted to me sexually and physically as a kid before I was 10 years old, which was really scary, right? And, I kind of developed a sense that men that were older were creepy. And even men who were my age at one point, I kind of thought they were creepy. You know, just from the disgust that I developed from knowing that and having the sense to know that this is not right. By the time I was 11 years old, I was molested by an adult family member who was a man. And I say that because some people are molested by the same gender of person. And that was creepy. And even though I had the courage to really like stand up for myself in that case by running away, separating myself from the situation, when I got to uh, family members, other family members who I felt were going to protect me, they were telling me that I had to go back to the situation because it's complicated. But it was a case where they were feeling like they could get in trouble for something, and it was like either I'm going to get in trouble for having you because you should be there, or you're going to be there. It's devastating to feel that you don't have that protection of family members, and my mother was included in that part right there. By the time I was about 12 or 13, um, I was exposed to a situation where the family that I was staying with at the time, they had an older person that I called an aunt. She would have a group of us together, and we were all females at that time. And a Saturday night would look like us going to the supermarket, buying ice cream, buying stuff, and instead of sitting down as a group of children, teenagers, some teenagers, young children, we would sit down and watch pornography together. So therefore now it wasn't just the books, it was the sound, and it was the story. And it's kind of cringy to sit with a bunch of women who are actually expressing arousal. It was heterosexual porn, but expressing arousal to the heterosexual porn together. Like, so I developed a sense of sex being cringy, um, something that it should be very, very secretive. It just was uncomfortable for me. Fast forward to the time that I was 15, um, and I really didn't have a sense of I really didn't have a sense of how I was supposed to be treated by a person of the opposite sex that I was attracted to, like a boyfriend. And so, I won't say I got into a situation as though it were my fault. Sexually abused victims usually blame themselves, so I'm not going to blame myself because this person was 18 years old while I was 15 years old, and I was date raped by a person. And then I had to go on and pretend as if there was a relationship happening because the people that were in my family that were with me at this place that it happened kind of ridiculed me as though it was something that they knew about, that they knew that I wanted to happen, because I was so afraid to let on that I was to let on to the fact that I had been violated, that I kind of just, it was embarrassing. I kind of just wanted to play it off because I always had the idea in my head that I was going to be that I was going to lose my actual virginity, in the way that I wanted to. Um, so just to backtrack to the molestation did not involve, um, the breakage of my hymen. Therefore, I was still considered a virgin. That's a lot and that's heavy. Um, but anyway, when those kind of things happen to a person, it kind of takes away their ability to trust. It kind of takes away, and if you have no guidance, like I had no guidance, you kind of don't know who to trust and what to look for. Therefore, a lot of good guys can come across your path and you still have your walls way up. So I'm not saying any of these things to make you guys feel sorry for me, and we are at the 16-minute mark, to feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for myself. I've come a long way, and in being able to come through some of these things. But in just to answer the question, why do I think I'm single? I think I've never learned to trust, and I have attachment issues that have not been unresolved in the past that I'm working on now. Why do you think you're single? Think about it. Does it stem from something that's happened in your childhood that affects the way that you deal with relationships today? Let me know. And do you have any suggestions as to what a person in my situation can do to overcome the barriers that may stop me or us from just trusting and just being willing to make the compromises and sacrifices needed for a forever companionship. Tell me what you think. I hope this wasn't too deep for you, but that's what this is. All right. Love, peace, and hair grease, guys.